Um, this is a societal shift, not unlike when we moved from the farms to the village, from the village to to London, right?
The impact of the internet on all areas of economy has been massive. It has eradicated almost any communications issues or time delays between parties, as well as creating never-before-seen efficiency in all other areas of economic development. The internet has also provided base to three new economy and business models that have had an unprecedented impact on how the global economy works, as well as its key players. These models are economies of production, economies of consumption, and economies of free.
The web is the digital version of capitalism, and social media is the next stage in post-industrial capitalism.
Both economies of production and consumption can be described as somewhat similar to pre-existing business models or notions of sharing or trading that have been adapted and advanced to the next level using the internet. For example, Uber aims to effectively replace the taxi industry by utilizing the opportunities provided by the internet to create a better service. On the other hand, economies of free directly feed off of internet users' time spent on the web. It is the clearest indicator as to how the internet has changed the global economy forever. This documentary explains and discusses the aforementioned three economy models.
I remember, when I was first touting the internet, this is in 1990, nobody even knows what it is. And, the few people who did know said, well, you're never going to be able to have any business going on then. There's no commerce. And I said, well, I don't know. Millions of keystrokes get entered into that thing every day. Now, I don't think people do anything unless they're getting something back. That looks like an economy to me. It may not be monetized, but it is an economy, I promise you.
Sharing economies of production are, at their core, a decentralized, collaborative, and non-proprietary effort of internet users to create an online entity, from a website to computer software, that is made available to everyone without cost. The reasons for users contributing to such projects vary, but a very important distinction is that the motivation behind users is not one of monetary gain. As they are not making money, users may, for example, contribute because of ideological reasons, such as the importance of access to free and correct information.
What do you think the objective of Wikipedia is? Is it to identify the objective truth, or is it to generate a truth that is crowdsourced, or something completely different?
I used to think that the point of Wikipedia was to create a valuable commodity for someone. And that at some point, someone was going to say, well, sorry, folks, but we are going to now start putting advertising, and we are going to start using it as a income generating thing. And no, all of you million editors, thanks a lot. See you later. I don't think that anymore. I think that they're being upfront, that they want to keep it open as it is, and free. Free is very important. And if it were not free, then I would feel that I had been taken advantage of, and I don't feel that way at all. I don't, as far as objective truth, the total truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, I think it's just to create the best articles they can on every possible topic.
As the goal of sharing economies of production is not to make money, they rely on user donations for maintenance costs, as is the case with the open source software Linux, as well as Wikipedia. This unique, non-commercial model makes otherwise unattainable transparency possible, especially important for Wikipedia's goal of collecting unbiased information and making it available freely.
Outside of raw, weaponized force, the principal way in which power exerts itself is by creating reality distortion fields around the control of information. You don't have to control people much if you can control what they believe, and you can control what they believe if you control what they have access to. If you can control what they can know, the rest of it is a very simple matter.
Although sharing economies of production have, in recent years, mostly been free of large-scale controversies, the open-to-anyone aspect of these platforms continues to cause some problems. Most notoriously, Wikipedia has had issues with either vandalism of its web pages containing leaks of private information about government officials or personal bias of well-known contributors to the site playing a role in how information about sensitive issues is presented. However, Wikipedia has seemingly done well to combat these issues, as most cases of vandalism are corrected quickly, and contributors not adhering to Wikipedia's terms have been removed.
This shift to understanding how to leverage a technology platform to have a conversation with a customer at scale is a huge shift in business. We don't yet really understand how big a deal this is. It changes how you think about marketing from a vertical practice to a horizontal one. It shifts how you think about product development. It shifts about, the kinds of approaches you take to pricing in real time. I mean, it makes my head hurt to think how big a shift this is in business. And it all starts with a blinking cursor and a sentence.
Sharing economies of consumption are sometimes described as collaborative consumption, where in sharing economies of production, people collaborate to come up with an end product without expecting a monetary reward. Economies of consumption enable paying customers to collaboratively consume services provided by each other, or a third party, with profit for the provider. This has been made possible on a large scale only due to the invention and popularization of the internet, connecting potential providers with potential consumers.
Which meant that marketers had to start seeing the internet as something that was essential to their business as opposed to another marketing channel. So it really shifted, it augured a very important shift of all of business to using the internet as a platform for business as opposed to, oh, it's that thing over there where we buy some ads and put some banners up. And we're only beginning to see that shift truly take, fruition. I think it was a pivot point in the history of how the internet economy works.
Although most, if not all, businesses have switched to the internet as their main base of operations, sharing economies of consumption have been made possible by brand new internet-age companies harnessing and utilizing the power that the internet puts into the hands of not only these companies, but also of the users of their services. The most prominent examples are Airbnb and Uber, both using the connecting power of the web as their core business model. Airbnb works as a substitute for the hotel industry, using their website to make it easier than ever for anyone to rent, short-term, part of or the entirety of their home to a stranger, usually for cheaper than a hotel. This, coupled with the ever-growing rise of tourism all over the world, makes Airbnb a very lucrative option for homeowners. Uber, on the other hand, focuses on overtaking the taxi industry, stripping the need for a registered taxi car, as drivers simply use their own vehicles to chauffeur passengers.
I think that we'll end up with much more complicated things. We don't know whether we'll still call them social networking, but our interactions, as we interact through the web, I think will include more and more things I've called social machines, things where, just like booking a meeting room, or organizing a trip, or building a photograph album, or for that matter, reviewing a scientific paper and deciding which one should be published. Things where people are doing the work, but the machinery of the web is allowing them to work, is actually doing the administration of linking them together into a bigger machine.
The brand new, revolutionary companies that are utilizing sharing economies of consumption as their main business models have been subject to a fair share of controversy. While their products continue to develop and expand, as Airbnb is operational in 191 countries, with Uber being available in 60, controversies follow. Airbnb is credited as a major influence in the housing crisis taking place in populated cities such as San Francisco, Amsterdam, and New York, with lawmakers especially clamping down on Airbnb in the Big Apple. Uber has also raised attention from the law. Multiple countries such as Denmark, Hungary, and Italy have banned or effectively banned use of the application, citing reasons from constituting unfair competition to breached regulations other taxi firms must adhere to.
We knew we needed to build an advertising system, and I actually believe that on the, sometime in that first week, on the second or third day I worked here, someone pointed out that the goal really was to have ads that were as relevant and as targeted as search results, that added as much to the user experience. So that was the vision, from right when I started on.
As humans' use of the internet has rapidly increased globally, the door has been opened to a never-before-seen, although predicted by its pioneers at Google, internet economy, where we pay for seemingly free services with our time and information about ourselves that is then used by advertisers that tailor ads to our specific needs.
When you visit a supposedly free website, it's sort of like a sophisticated version of watching free TV. There's content that's being presented to you. Somebody's paying for it. How do they get paid back? Well, in the old TV world, at least in the United States, where it's based on ads, what's really happening is the content is a product that's sold to advertisers. And what are advertisers buying? Advertisers are buying audience. And so they pay to be able to put their advertisements in front of you. And the same thing is happening on the web. Advertisers pay websites in order to put ads in front of them. The main sort of extra dimension on the web is that they're also paying for the information that they get from when you visit websites to help them decide which ads they want to target, where they want to put ads.
Internet advertising allows for unprecedented means of delivering effective ads right to the person they would be most effective to. Furthermore, it allows for these ads to be automatically generated, with the delivery method also being automatic, as long as you have paid the delivery service. This makes them more effective than both traditional one-to-many advertisements such as TV and the now outdated technique of online banner ads, with the added benefit of being much cheaper to create.
Search occupies this really magical moment in advertising where demographics, billboards, commercials on television, they're really trying to find people who are likely to be thinking about buying a service or think about buying a product. And with search, we don't need to guess. We know what they're thinking about because they just typed it into the box.
The implicit, and for many people the explicit, trade-off is that in exchange for watching over your shoulder as you shop, we will help you shop better. And no one seems to have any problem with this because they trust Amazon, and this is if you go into a store and the store assistant says, "Can I help you?" And if the store assistant is good and you're feeling like you need help, you'll go through this little communication. Here's what I'm looking for. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? A little more of this. The advice will get better and better and better, and eventually you will get what you want. Amazon does this exact same thing. So there's nothing new about this trade-off.
There are also plenty of controversies and critics connected to targeted ads and how, while we browse the internet, especially websites such as Amazon or Facebook, these websites are working in the background to create ads specifically tailored to us.
What we've done is moved from personal, human, open-ended self-expression to completely market and computer-friendly, regimented and conformist expression. And that's because we've turned the net from a venue for self-expression to a way to render ourselves up onto the market. As a result, the internet does not foster humanity. The internet is about human beings conforming to the needs of technology as understood by the market, rather than human beings getting technology to extend and express what it means to be a human being. And that's why the net has moved from being part of the human potential movement to part of the really anti-human movement.
Perhaps the most infamous controversy related to economies of free is the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal. As part of this event, Cambridge Analytica created and published a Facebook app, with the goal seemingly being to partake in a survey strictly for academic use. However, due to a Facebook design flaw, the app was also allowed to harvest information from everyone in the app user's Facebook network, with up to 87 million victims cited. The information was enough for Cambridge Analytica to create psychographic profiles of the persons affected by the data breach. Cambridge Analytica then sold this data to political parties to aid their advertising campaigns, such as the 2015 and 2016 Donald Trump and Ted Cruz presidential campaigns and the 2016 Brexit vote. However, advocates for targeted ads remain. If the system works as intended, it can mean a better and more efficient internet experience.
I'm really not so vexed by behavioral advertising and targeting. I think that as long as it's transparent at some level and you, the consumer or the user, have the ability to find out what is being kind of used to your benefit, your supposed benefit, then I feel quite relaxed about it and actually think that it can be an exciting leap forward. I think that where it becomes tricky is when it's not totally transparent to you, the user, or there is no way of finding out. And I think that that's one of the areas that perhaps we're only beginning to grapple with now.
The internet and its huge impact on economy is here to stay. When controlled properly, it can mean massive profits for the involved parties and users. However, how exactly to go about doing so is unclear to this day, and the risk factor involved cannot be discounted. As time goes on, companies will continue to find new ways of using the internet to make money, as well as perfecting the older ones. While it is important for these companies to push forward and develop the web's extraordinary potential, it is also important for users to keep track of how this process happens.